right. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 73.
Okay.
We are back. Episode 73 tonight, guys. And as you guys saw in the promotions, as you guys see in the comment section below, we're talking obviously tonight about mindfulness, mental health. We're going to talk anxiety, depression, some coping mechanisms, and some resources too for if you're suffering from depression. So as always, guys, we're your hosts for the evening. I'm Steve Ushler. Joined alongside me on the other end is my co-host, my good friend, George Menshai. What's up, George?
What's up, guys?
And
Hi, how you doing? We're here.
Doing good, man. Doing good. And then we also are joined by a special guest tonight. This is her first time on the Locked In Podcast. So please welcome Leyla to the podcast. What is going on?
Hello, everybody.
How's it going? Good to have you on.
Yeah, it's glad to have you on, Leyla. So she has a little bit of knowledge of this because she works in mental health and she works in that field. So a lot of knowledge here. This is kind of essentially like a part 2 on mental health because we did do one. It's been almost a year though. So this is definitely a great refresher. And, one of the biggest things we didn't really talk about last time was resources. So we're going to dive into that a little bit tonight as well. Guys, we're just going to play a quick intro and then we're going to hop into it from there. So just bear with us.
Yes, sir. Let's
See you on the other side.
Get in the building, guys.
All right, guys. So as we said, if anybody who's tuning in, I see a lot of people are filing in right now. Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 73. Where tonight we're talking essentially mental health awareness. We're talking about mindfulness, depression, anxiety, coping mechanisms, resources if you're suffering from depression. It's going to be a great episode. And as I said, we're your hosts and we're welcoming special guest Leyla into the building tonight because Leyla has a lot of expertise as she works in the field of mental health.
Yeah.
I'm like, just like general expertise though. Like, yeah, you have a lot of knowledge on it,
Right.
But we're gonna kind of dive into it tonight. I guess starting wise, maybe we can just talk a little bit about depression and just kind of like what it is. Maybe like we'll give some statistics and we'll just kind of walk through it. Leyla, I know you have some notes. Do you want to start by just talking about kind of what depression is and just go from there?
Sure. So depression, it's overall, as we know, is sadness. However, sadness and depression are not the same. In order to be considered depressed is to have those types of symptoms like, being like either overwhelmed, upset, overall just low mood, tired.
Mm-hmm.
Not just once a week or not, it needs to be more consistent to be considered depression. And then anxiety works hand in hand with depression, but it makes us feel different. It makes us feel not jittery, but just uncomfortable. And people can't, it's hard to explain. It's hard for people to reach out just to even talk about their feelings in general. People close themselves in. So hopefully here tonight, we'll talk about that. I want to talk about, where people can start, and just some tips and tricks, I guess, to help with anyone suffering with depression, anxiety. So I usually, when someone calls me at the office, they usually, is that me?
What's that? Oh, you're fine.
No. I thought he said something. I'm sorry. So I usually, when someone calls me at the office, and and that's happened multiple times where they just feel overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They're having difficulties finding a provider. And the unfortunate thing about mental behavioral health field is there isn't enough resources to start off with, and it's not really talked about due to stigma. So usually, like I said, where do people start off? I usually recommend people just start off by their family doctor. That's why they're there. You go, you get a brief consult, and if anything, they'll help you out, or at least refer you to a place that they may not know. Just I always recommend people, just to get that out of your mind. Talk to someone, because when you get that go over that initial hump, for the most part, you start feeling better. But then, at the same time, you'll be addressing it. And, where else would you want to start at a primary care provider? Most people think, going to the hospital is a good way of getting help, but that's for, I would say, more severe if you're like kind of in crisis. If anyone ever feels to be suicidal, always call 911. Always have a friend that kind of knows your situation at all times. Someone they can always refer to no matter what. And just pretty much getting comfortable with yourself too. That's really important.
Right.
Exactly. That's actually some very good points. Like I said, we didn't really talk that much about resources, but that's a very good point. Like people, I think, always tend to think like hospital when something like this kind of comes up. But that's actually a great point. It's like, yeah, unless you're in like it's like a really, really like crisis mode, a primary care physician probably is the best way to start. That's actually a really, really good point.
Right. And I wouldn't really recommend going to the hospital unless you are in crisis 100%. Then go to the hospital immediately, because it might just be a bad start. Not, it's not a good way to start sometimes in a hectic manner. Especially, depression just doesn't happen overnight. Most of the time it's happening, for a long period of time, but, you're just ignoring it. And, the cup fills and overflows.
Absolutely.
Going to the hospital, most people stigmatize it already. Think of a psych ward. It seems to be scary, but there are so many more options now, more resources. Like I said, the first step that I recommend is going out to a primary care provider. Another option can be your insurance. If you have insurance, that could be Medicaid, Medicare, commercial. There's always numbers on the back of your card, and there's plenty of resources there. Once you call and say that you're looking for some kind of help for mental health, usually they'll have someone kind of lead you to where you need to go. They'll ask you some questions, what kind of services you're looking for. And then, that being said, then at least it's guaranteed that it will be in network. You're not paying out of pocket.
Exactly.
Sometimes out of pocket is okay too, depending on the quality of care.
Exactly. And sometimes you just need resources.
I've done it before. Out of pocket just to get treated for other stuff, not for depression, of course. But
I think that's a great point. I think that was a great point, Leyla, that you also brought up the stigma depression. Like a lot of people, like the greatest thing is like in the last 10 years, I feel like for sure, we've actually learned to kind of talk about this. That's one of the best things is that like, back like say like 20, 30 years ago, people may have been suffering from, obviously depression never ever went away 30 or 40 years ago, but, people didn't talk about it as much. Whereas like, I feel like in our generation, a lot of times now
people are more open about
these things, which is great because, even though depression, like it doesn't just go away from talking about, but being open and mindful of these things now and being more understanding now, there's a lot more resources for it, which is great. It can honestly be able to really, really help people. And
now even online resources too for people who are afraid of going out. Like group therapies can be overwhelming sometimes, which is understandable. You just got to start slow, one step at a time. I always tell people it's like climbing a ladder. The more steps there are, the little steps, the quicker you go up. If you try to take big steps, it's harder to go up that ladder and succeed your way up.
Yeah,
absolutely
makes sense. It's a very like not only touch the subject and topic, but at the same time, it's like such a trend. People want to talk about it and hear about it, and it's so hard. I mean, for somebody's depressed, you can't just expect them to snap out of it, just go back to normal, or if they always feel that way, it could be even harder. I'm guessing. So it's like it takes some time for it to really, get comfortable, and also whoever's helping them treating depression, doctors and people that work with people got syndromes and all that. It's they're doing a good job. Well, a lot of them are, because like we talked about earlier before the show, there's treatment in other places, and they get like treatment in America, and sometimes the system here is not the best because, well, depression is different. It's like treat somebody with depression or somebody with cancer. It takes its own specific. It needs its own space.
Absolutely, and not till recently, they weren't even really considering it to be part of healthcare, because if you ask like health insurances or the big people, and I guess in the medical field, who is way, way, way more above us,
right?
They see mental health more to be, useless. But over time, that has been proven wrong, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And not only is mental health as important, but it's as important as physical health.
Exactly. You could be the most physically fit person in the room, but if your mental health is not strong, if you don't have good mental health, it's like to be honest, it's just because physical health obviously is very important.
Right.
I would almost argue, if not like mental health, it might not even be more important. I mean, I don't overweight and stuff. It can be obviously very detrimental to your health as well.
One can affect the other.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If you kind of get tied together.
If you have if you have bad if your mental health is like in crisis, like honestly, you could either be very overweight or you could like be not eating and be very, very like very, very skinny, like to the point where you're like you're not eating because of your mental health.
Or you can obsess over that physical health, and obsessing is not a good OCD. And then let's say someone's obsessed with working out, the way they look, body image. There's so many parts to it, but at the end of the day, they all kind of work together.
Exactly. You can't pinpoint like one thing, like, oh, that person has like a depression. Somebody could be very good. Somebody could be very, very good at like you might never ever know that they're depressed or that they're dealing with really, really like bad anxiety. You may never ever know because depression, like symptoms can range from mild to severe. So
absolutely.
It's crazy. Like it can go from feeling sad or having a depressed mood to thinking you're worthless, or it can get like really, really bad. Sure.
Right, and it starts in a variety of ages. Like I had my oldest patient was like 93 that we were seeing. I was like, "Why are you depressed?" I was like, "No offense, but you're 93."
Right. Yeah. Sometimes age can do its thing too, and it's different.
Right, and then you have children who are depressed. Oh, you're a child, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate who you are, how old you are, what you look like, anywhere. And it can affect mental health can affect you just as much physical can. So diabetes, for example, if it's untreated, it has a consequence. Heart disease, if you don't treat it, it has a consequence. And same with mental health.
It's actually a very, very good point. And it's there's also, right, like there's different types of depression. There can be clinical depression. There can be situational depression,
Yeah.
seasonal depression. I
Right.
personally know people that, like, when winter comes around, they get a little bit, they get depressed, suffer from depression a little bit. But when it's warmer, the sun's out, like in the summer months, like it kind of comes and goes. You know what I mean? And then there's
Right.
people that suffer from it every day. You don't know what type of mood you're going to be in because it can be
Right.
clinical. For sure.
Going back to that, the being physical and mental health, like you were saying, that when the sun comes out, you start feeling better. If you have some kind of even vitamin deficiency, that can overall affect your mood too. And that's how physical and mental health can work. So, like you said, when the sun comes out, you get more vitamin D. Ultimately, you start feeling better. But if you catch it early, per se, you could kind of tackle it quicker.
Exactly.
It's always important to start. Sorry, Steve, I was just saying it's always important to start, ahead. And if you are depressed or feel like you have some kind of anxiety where you need to see a doctor or a special, some kind of like prescribed person, or person like someone like you that understands, a psychiatrist, whatever, it's good to kind of go there and, get into it. Whether it's like, some kind of rehab or a place for like an institution. I know people have been depressed, but not that depressed. So they didn't feel like they have to go there. And some got better than others. Some is like they improved by very little. Some improved like tremendously, and everything's fine now. So.
Absolutely. We had some comments here. So I saw my buddy Joe said true. My buddy Todd Gardner, he used to be my manager. He commented and he said the power of prayer works for him when he's depressed or anxious. It's a great point, man. And see, as a perfect example, like everybody can suffer from it. Doesn't matter. And my man Todd over there, he's a pretty successful person in life. I actually look up to him. Anybody can suffer. It doesn't matter who you are, like what your status is. Todd, that's a great point. Prayer, power of prayer.
Right.
And then 2 comments from my boy Ray, who's actually down in Florida. He said physical health and mental health go hand in hand, and that Florida has the most rehabs in the United States simply because of the weather. Yeah, it's a good point. And also, my buddy Joe commented in, being physically healthy is not expensive. Being injured is. So
absolutely
prevent injuries. It's a good point. It's a good point. So one of the things I have in my notes, it's like a lot of risk factors for depression. It can actually put you at risk. Some of the things I had were biochemistry. So, differences like in certain chemicals in the brain can contribute to it. Genetics, depression can run in families for sure.
Absolutely. I'm glad you bring that up because let's say you're worried about that and you don't want to go through like a million medication trials. We have tests now. It's called gene site testing, but what it does is basically tests your genes and compares it to like the medications and the way it would react to your gene makeup. And that saves a lot of people some time because they end up finding that, let's say, a common medication may not work for them and vice versa.
Right.
So it's a good way of doing that because, like you said, some medications have side effects.
Yep.
And that's probably the one con about mental health, but there's side effects for everything, pros and cons to everything.
Of course. That's a good point. See, some of the other risk factors I had is just like personality. If you deal with low self-esteem, you're overwhelmed by stress, could be a risk factor. And then the last one I have is just environmental factors. Violence, poverty, abuse, different things can affect it. So there's a lot of risk factors out there. That was a great point on the genetic part. Definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's kind of like people get their ancestry DNA. Why not do a DNA test for something you may be potentially taking every day, if not twice a day, for a long period of time? You want to be safe.
Of course.
True. That's definitely very good point. It's like you almost see like if some people are more prone to to stress, and there's also other conditions that bring stress, like I don't know, like sickle cell or another condition people have. You know what I mean? People they're overweight, that the condition they fall asleep standing, and they're actually like they're talking, they can fall asleep. Sometimes they can lead to depression, loss of appetite, of course, loss of sight. Sometimes diabetes can lead to like losing a sight or losing even a finger. Now you're depressed because of that. So it's a whole other type of depression that.
Right. That would kind of fall into like body image, eating disorder.
Body disorder, exactly. I fall under that.
Exactly. This was an interesting fact I had actually found when I was looking through my research. For people that actually do accept treatment, because some people may not, but people who actually accept treatment, between 80 and 90% of people actually respond very, very well, usually, to the treatments, actually. So,
medications come to a long way from what they were before. And there's pharmaceutical representatives that come out and educate us on new products. Obviously, clinicians have to do their own research and see if it's clinically right for them, but it's always good to be up to date when it comes to some of those medications, because those medications definitely improved in the last 30 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because I know you actually work in mental health. I work for a nonprofit, but I work in finance, right? I'm on the financial side, but a lot of the programs I deal with are actually mental health programs. And I know another one of the I see like all the different activities that they actually do, like with like the clients and the patients. I know in addition to medication, psychotherapy can be very, very
Absolutely.
beneficial as well.
Absolutely. And I have a couple things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to that. Let's see here.
Yeah.
So there's different types of therapies. Obviously, there's the most common CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Exactly.
So I guess there's different ways to tackling depression. One would be medication. Let's say,
Yeah.
if you before you do medication, let's say you're a child in this case, and the parent doesn't want the child to be on a medication. Their first option would probably be therapy, but
Therapy sounds good.
consistent therapy is proven to be really, really successful.
Right. 100%. That's great. It's good. It's good to
Mhm.
know. That's good to know.
The
Yeah.
only downside about therapy would probably be, being committed, and it takes patience. You're gonna have to get to know the person in front of you, who is your new therapist. They have to get to know you, and you just have to be patient and take it one thing at a time. Another non-medication option is called TMS, and that stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Okay.
Mhm.
I kind of fell in love with mental health doing that. That's how I started. I had basically, when I first started in this field, I had no idea, no education. I was doing more front desk, but then eventually the doctors at my office uh, brought in TMS, and I became a TMS coordinator and technician.
Wow.
Um,
Awesome.
so
Congratulations.
thanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
it's actually really cool. What it does is it's magnetic frequency. It targets the part of the brain that's responsible for our emotions. It delivers magnetic energy to activate, our neurons, stimulating and strengthening those neural pathways. So it's similar to medication, but without most of those
Yeah,
side effects.
that's your fun
Um,
symptoms.
have you ever guys heard of ECT?
Yes, I actually have. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
electroconvulsive, right? Therapy. Is that what that is?
Right, right.
Okay.
People confuse those two. However, ECT, you have to be under generalized anesthesia, which
Okay.
can be difficult for some patients. But TMS is non-invasive. It's relatively short and
Okay.
almost to like no side effects.
That's
Wow.
interesting.
I didn't know a lot about that. That's actually great to know. Because
Yeah, I
I knew.
recommend that to people who have medication-resistant depression.
Okay, great. What's the abbreviation for that again? You said TMS.
hmm
Okay.
TMS.
Okay.
And it's
TMS.
cool.
I should check that out
Definitely
more.
most innovative. I mean, up to date.
Hmm.
Um, as for like FDA approval, it's fairly new. Insurances are now covering it for people who have medication resistant depression. So basically, people who've been on medication, let's say you're 50 and you've been on medication for 20 years and you still feel like crap. And the guy's getting overwhelmed or not feeling well, hopeless. So TMS is a different option, less side effects, and it's safe and it's new.
Right. That's awesome. There's just so many different resources that they can like help with different things. It's really
Right.
interesting. I've always been interested in like this topic. That's why I always like. So I'll look more into that because I'm always interested to kind of see different ways of like I'm always just interested seeing different.
Also, one
Yeah.
more thing, real quick. Uh, Somebody had told me that antipsychotics is some kind of like it's a medical treatment that they supposedly they be using it. They used to use it a lot. I don't know if they still do, but every now and then it helps with like with certain activities. Because usually when you lose activity, like the well being, like you don't do nothing anymore. You have no interest. Even you don't really like have appetite. That's one of the symptoms or some of the symptoms. So sometimes by using that, they say like it helps. And another way to do it, which I mean, I kind of ask you, Leila. I heard also, and I never really been depressed, but when I've been a little down or a little anxious, I've done it. It used to help me a lot. Yoga, but yoga helps too. They say.
Absolutely. And I was just about to say that that's another good thing. Just like how prayer can be, it's like a type of meditation, a type of grounding exercise.
Exactly. Yeah, that's actually a good point, George. Yoga, meditation,
Absolutely.
journaling
Yeah.
can help as well. Journaling can be
Absolutely.
very important to like
Journaling, keeping even
acknowledge your
looking
thoughts.
stuff in the mirror.
Absolutely.
Definitely, trying
Going
to like
back to
sort of like
being
calm down.
mindful and aware of yourself and others.
Yep, your
Always yourself
triggers
and
because
others.
certain
Yeah.
things might trigger other people. Like it's just
Exactly.
like that way of thinking, and yeah, it's
Staying in a
important.
positive environment helps. Calm.
And
Trying to go
meditation
back to
doesn't have to
activities.
be too
Meditation.
involved. It could be simple, it could be 5 minutes. As
Yep.
long
Yeah.
as you're
Very
doing
simple.
that grounding technique, it's a good way to kind of
Breathing
go
and
back
clean
to
your mind.
focus.
Right.
Exactly.
And trying to keep a straight back. You have to be an expert meditator. You start slow and you're making a difference, and you're making like an advance. In a few days, you feel better. I mean, it has happened to people, but also like being on your phone so much, like phones. Let's even talk about that sometimes. And we talked about this in the past. Social media can kind of like push you to be even depressed at times, and being on your phone all day
Absolutely.
can make you
I
feel like
tell
you're not doing.
everyone to stop watching the news. That's number one.
100%.
Yeah.
I
Watch
honestly,
the news here and there, not too much. If you watch the news once in a blue, you're okay. If you watch it too much, then you might go crazy.
Absolutely.
Nah, I'm
It
not a news guy either.
plays a big toll on the way you think sometimes.
hmm
Yeah, what you see
it's
around the world, you
it's
can
good to
really
be informed, but I sometimes tell
Right.
people there's nothing wrong with
exactly
watching the news, but be very careful. To be honest,
when you
like
watch it.
a lot of
That's
times
the brain.
I like to actually like use Wall Street Journal and actually read
Read.
the news because you can interpret it your own way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you listen to certain stations and certain anchors, they have an agenda. There's an agenda because they're
Yeah, a lot of guys do that.
either Republican or Democrat. Whatever you're listening to, there's an agenda, and you got to be very careful about who you listen to and what you watch. And a lot of times, it's just there to kind of pollute your mind. But like, I'm not saying bad things don't go on in the world, but a lot of times they'll make something seem really really bad to like. And what it does is it sparks like a lot of
It
people I know that watch the
sparks
news all
fear
the
and
time.
anxiety. That's what it does.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And a lot of people I know that watch the news all the time, they're very very angry all the time and stuff. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
Anxiousness, it triggers you, it gives you. Sometimes here's the thing: we watch the news, but the news actually, guys, just to be fair in this, and we don't got to switch to to this side, but it gives you misinformation as it is. Sometimes the news will say one thing, and later on, oh, it was updated, that was actually false. And we're not talking about fake news, IG bullshit
Right.
headlines. We're talking about actual news on CNN or like somebody say here, like they
or
always
Fox
negative
News, like you
news.
could go either way. You
Sometimes it's
could
not
go,
updated, bro. So
yeah.
you can't always go
Right.
by the news. I mean,
Right.
you can watch the news here and there, take it with a solid grain, but don't let it trigger you. And if you feel like you're getting depressed, don't watch the news. People be stop watching the news. Somebody told me my job. They stop watching the news and they feel happier now,
That's
and they still get
that,
informed because they watch the
Absolutely.
papers.
that's
Just go
important
check
to
out
know. That's important to
information
note.
about it.
If it's starting to make you feel a certain way that you can tell is negative, yeah, just distance yourself from it. Like some people can be on social media all the time and be fine. But when you start to get to a point where you think you're comparing yourself to others and like, oh, and like starting to feel down about yourself because you see other people, doing certain things, I like to always remind people that realize what people post on Instagram and Facebook a lot of the times it's a highlight reel. You never really know what's going on in their lives
Absolutely.
behind the scenes. Don't always just take and see what somebody's doing. Like if somebody's traveling all the time, you don't know what's going on in their life. Like you have no clue like what's going
Everyone.
on.
Right.
Everybody deals with struggles. Everybody, sometimes you'll find out something that somebody was struggling for something. You see them like, wow, on Instagram they seem so happy. Like you never know what's going on in somebody's life.
Absolutely.
So be very
And that's
careful.
a good way of, just being mindful.
Absolutely.
Be careful and
Exactly.
protect your sanity. Protect again your energy, your mindset, your happiness, your mindfulness. Don't fall for BS. Don't watch things you should probably be watching. Stay away from some negative things. Things that trigger you. Just try to think positive and take a breather. Even drinking water can
That's
help you on depressed times. That's actually one of the main things to be healthy. Drinking water, regularly exercising. Because a lot of times you don't want to do things that you usually enjoy, and you don't want to talk as well. So you might be
Mhm.
isolated, and that's how
Right.
it kind of starts too.
Right. And you shouldn't really stress about the things that we can't control. Government, as much as we have the right to vote, at the end of the day, how much can we do? We're really limited. And um, and then focusing on all those negative things can really impact you without even realizing it. So that's one way to do that. So let's say, how Stephen was saying, it can be an environmental thing. Let's say you're in a toxic home, um,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of uncomfortable situations per se, and you
Yep.
don't want to be a part of it, and then you're like, okay, well, how does someone like that, help? You're always around that, you're always around negativity. Yes. And in order to feel more positive is gratitude, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
Journaling
say
is
so.
one, like you said, and then just keeping track of making a list of things that we're grateful for from day to day, simple things, starting off, and then eventually focusing more on
Right.
positive than negative.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Every day, I'm not always
Focus on good stuff.
consistent with it, but I do attempt to at least every day jot down like three things that like I'm grateful for that day, and I always try to like just journal for 5 minutes, just like something like how I'm feeling, like
Good idea. I
what I'm
like that
excited
actually.
about that day, what I might feel a little anxious about that day, but like coming forward, things that you're gonna have to go through that day, whether it's work, outside of work, yeah, just being mindful, and I think journaling is very powerful for sure.
Absolutely. Even if you don't write it down, at least think about it to start off with. You have to start
Exactly.
somewhere. You're not gonna become a doctor overnight, right? You have to take your time, do your courses, and then same thing with journaling. You start somewhere, and then
Exactly.
the more you write down, the more you think, the more creative you become, and you start to realize more things about yourself than you probably didn't before.
Exactly. Somebody commented in. They said, let me find out who's actual. So some of them they just come up as Facebook users. So I always like to
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's who
see.
sometimes. I think it
Uh,
was from somebody from YouTube hit us up too, though. I don't even think I know this person, but
I know her. Her name's Venetia, and she is. I know her. She said comparison is the thief of joy. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Some other comments I saw. Yeah, it says my friend Todd said any type of trauma can trigger depression. For example, anniversary, a death of a loved one, a breakup.
yeah,
We need to be
triggers different
available
things
to our
out.
friends or our family when they need us, and sometimes just talking it
Right.
out can definitely be a help.
Absolutely. And everyone's trauma response and trauma tolerance is different.
Very true. Very
Let's
good point. Please
say
speak on
if
that.
something happens to
Yeah,
me and the same thing happens to you, you may take it better than I will, and you have to
Exactly.
realize that everyone's the way people process is different.
traumatic events can also keep up on you. Like sometimes you get rid of memories or some things you never really delete from your memory, but sometimes at the same time you kind of like you can put them aside, and the older you get, the less you think about it, and you can cope with it much better now, where it probably doesn't affect you. But for a long time, especially if you're young, when those events happen, it can be stuck in there. Depends how old you were. Sometimes you might not remember because you're too young. Sometimes you might, but you saw something that you probably shouldn't have seen or experienced something. You know, it's a lot of different things that can cause that depression and and trauma, but they definitely are very similar in many ways. And again, past experiences,
Exactly.
all that.
So
Girls
the
that being
person,
assaulted, guys that being like jumped or
100%,
bullied, all that. Because
hundred percent.
there's causes, the different causes that cause that shit.
There's just so many different types and different ways, and like everybody's brain chemistry is different. That's a great
Right.
point you said, Layla. Everybody's can deal with things differently. It's everybody's tolerance is different.
Absolutely. Tolerance to medication, life, stress, drama, um, trauma, anything is everyone's tolerance is different. Everyone perceives things differently, and that's just the way you just have to go through it, and be patient. If you're working with someone that's different than you, you've realized not everyone is like you, number one.
Or like minded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. My buddy Ray commented. He said, "Glad you guys are talking." That's actually my buddy Ray. He said, "Glad you guys are talking about depression. Last 2 years, we lost a lot of people due to depression. We felt, with a lot of change the last 2 years as people. The news won't tell you that. Yeah, 100%. And then
no, that's a really good point because
then,
people probably had depression and COVID didn't help anyway, so everything got kind of crazy after that. People and older people are dying too, which means they're already thinking about it too much because the news and shit like that, it can give you too much anxiety, too much negativity in your brain. You don't need.
Exactly. This is our actually Rich down below, George. So Rich said he lost his unborn child, as I know, February 2021, and he's like, I was wondering why February 22 I was going through a small depression stage. I remember it was that. I actually appreciate you talking about that, man. I know that's real deep, man. And Rich, Rich, I'm always here.
I'm sorry about that.
Sorry to hear that.
Rich. I got you, bro. But yeah, it's definitely
it's tough. A little bit. But definitely appreciate you talking about it, man, because it's it's helpful. That's why I said it's so glad that
it's therapeutic
now, we're able to talk about this more. It's just going to get better, as we go.
Absolutely. I was just telling my sister, she's an RN. She does critical care. She does ICU. That's not me. I'm good. I don't like seeing blood, needles. So I was like, mental health is the next new thing because it's been so not talked about as much. Now that it's getting a lot of light, I have a feeling it's gonna be like the next new thing in medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Advancements in medicine for sure.
It's great. I mean, the only downside about our medical system, at least in the U.S., is just obviously the price and how expensive everything is.
Insurance.
But everything's monetized a certain way, man.
But the other side of it is at least that we're making a lot of advances, which is great.
Right. Absolutely.
We might have one of the best. I'm not just talking about healthcare, but just medical systems and medicine systems in the world. We're up there. I mean, us, Canada is also very well, very known. Like Switzerland, Germany, England, of course, parts like Sweden and Norway. Those countries are very developed. And ironically enough, not really related to the topic, but I was looking at yesterday. My friend was like, "You'll pull up the toughest armies in the world." Not for nothing, bro. The USA is number 1. Russia's number 2. Turkey's number 10.
I'm Turkish.
Yeah, I told him that.
Turkey's good. I told people Turkey. Turkey, China took over the world. Think about it.
What's your nationality?
I'm Albanian.
Okay, we're like neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. Albanian, live in Italy, little Italian, but I'm Albanian though. So I got Turkish friends. I got cousins that mix with Turkish. I know about Turkey.
Nice.
I've been there when I was young, very young. Back in 91, 92, I was there one time in Istanbul. So.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, it's beautiful.
I love it. Mosques everywhere. I like mosques, so I like the architecture.
Yeah.
It's like my country. Does the same, really, very similar. We went to Turkish food for many years. We got a lot of Turkish coffee.
And the food is great. Love the food.
Yeah.
I would just go to eat. If only.
I gotta go there. I gotta try.
Oh yeah. Everything is going to hopefully look better. And, people don't really get involved too much in the whole, because, politics are politics. Honestly, I've told you in the past, Steve. I know we talked about the war a little bit last week about the Ukraine thing on this episode. I just don't think it's going to be really as people. It might get worse. It probably will, but at the same time, we'll be okay. Trust me. It's going to be just a little.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to give up.
Some destruction is going to happen, but unfortunately, some cities will be ruined probably. There'll be some loss of life as well, but it's not going to be as bad as, thinking positive. Because, history proved that, it's been other crazy wars, and we have been able to control it. We had people die in 9/11, the Pentagon, where other people died and other shit, so we could be strong and united. But, it's good the nurses are going out there and helping out, too,
Yeah.
And, I met her at the club, Steve, who actually said she's going to go out there in Kiev. Somehow, she's one of the few people that actually can go out there. And, I was able to talk to her, and I was like, oh, good luck, if you, as far as, going out there. Only reporters were immune to the war, I believe. Reporters and some people for the medical. Everybody else, they can arrest you like that, if they want to.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's what the news doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
I love the news doesn't tell you, bro. We got to find out from people firsthand, like I did. The news are the news. They're there to create panic, propaganda, lie a little bit or a lot.
Agenda a lot of times. But I actually wanted to talk another coping mechanism. One thing we really didn't talk about a lot is actually sleep can actually be a great
absolutely the best way to recovery is just sleep.
Getting enough sleep, exactly. Having a regular sleep schedule and not skimping on your sleep.
Absolutely.
Sleep's it's important. Like, a lot of people I know, they don't get enough sleep, or sleeping too much can be a problem though too. You want to get
balance in everything.
Exactly.
Too much of a little. What's that thing? Too much of a good thing cannot be good anymore. What they say.
Yeah, very good point. Too much of a good thing sometimes cannot be good anymore. It gets played out almost. Yep. Good proverbs there. Good.
Yeah, It's a good
I
one.
mean, recommend adults are recommended to sleep at least 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep. So when they say quality sleep, you can sleep 7 to 9 hours, but are you tossing and turning? Are you,
Mhm.
feeling unbothered? Are you waking up gasping for air?
Yeah.
Um, quality sleep will be more straight through deep REM sleep. Um,
Exactly. REM sleep. That's actually important. So people, yeah,
Rapid
exactly.
eye movement.
REM
Rapid
sleep
eye,
is the best type of sleep that
rapid
you
eye
can
movement
get. So
sleep.
that's
Yeah.
the type of sleep that you initially
right.
look for. Exactly.
And then let's see here. I
Sleep is
have in
good.
my notes. Sleep doesn't come easy for everyone. Just like you have a routine, you create a night routine. So if let's say you're having a hard time going to bed, just like how you have a morning routine, kind of get ready for the day. It's the opposite. You just wind down slowly, um, getting off like you guys mentioned, social media, your phone, and preparing to sleep. At least an hour before bed, cutting off electronics. It can really help.
Hmm.
Let's see what else. Just give yourself time to relax and unwind. You can't just storm to the door and just like pop into bed and expect to just be knocked out. You kind of
Exactly.
have to process the day.
Exactly. Especially if you're all wound up from the day. Like,
Right.
I actually follow a YouTube influencer. His name's Alex Costa, and he had like a night routine. What he does like to fall asleep because he's like somebody who wakes up super early. What he had said is like, yeah, because he's somebody who he makes his career on YouTube, so he's on his phone all the time. But he said even if you are going to be on your phone, turn the brightness down. You can actually wear blue light glasses that can affect blue light from hitting your face, which is usually that can affect your like how you sleep and everything like that. So blue light glasses you can buy them on Amazon for like $10. There was another thing he says like sometimes some songs will calm him down. Like he hears like a certain song, he's like,
Right.
I think of that song and it's time for
Right.
bed. Like he
And
like
deep
certain
breathing.
music, deep breathing, very important. It depends on what you like. Like it maybe sometimes if reading calms you down, maybe you'll
Everyone's
read a little bit
different.
for that.
You just got to find
Exactly,
what you're good with
works
and
for
what
you.
works for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if like I feel like a lot of people sometimes they'll rely on like medication, like melatonin and stuff. To be honest, like medication, like things like that over the counter, like it's all right to like use it, but I try as much as I can not to rely on things like to
Hmm.
like if you can do it naturally and just find
Right.
like a routine that works for you,
Right.
it can be really beneficial.
Right. And I'm glad you say that because our the office that I'm working at right now, and like you said, like medication may not be the first route or some. So I work at a addiction medicine and mental health facility. So some of our patients, let's say who have opioid use disorder or substance use disorder,
Right.
they're usually hesitant to try medication. And that way we brought in some vitamins, but the vitamins that we have are handpicked by the doctor, approved by them, because not all vitamins are regulated. One.
Right.
And
Definitely.
not all vitamins are good for you. So we have a website. Maybe I can give you that information later, but it's all
That'll be
good.
cool.
Yeah, good vitamins, vitamin D, and
100%.
overall, make you feel better. Sometimes that can just be solved just by a vitamin.
Exactly. There's like two things I take every single day. It's just simple. I take a multivitamin and I take
Yeah,
fish oil because our body doesn't produce fish oil. Those are just the two things I take every single day. Just to yeah, like I mean a yeah. It's just like I just say for like things like sleep and stuff. I try not to rely on things just because it's like it can be a habit. Like you like then
absolutely.
like you can't sleep without it. Like you need to take
Yeah,
melatonin to go to sleep, which yeah
yeah.
for
I don't
sure.
think melatonin's habit forming though. Luckily.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, for sure.
Right. You know what's another thing too, guys? Like speaking about sleeping and trying to get you more relaxed and a better sleep and turn your phone. Also, those by what do you call it? I think they're called binaural beats, and it's like the sound of water or small water flow. You can
Oh
actually
yeah,
get these
yeah.
things, you put them in your ear. By the way, they're different things. Some will help you like meditate. Some can help you almost like you can even dream at night or something like
Yeah,
having like a lucid dream almost. You know what I mean? Some are more like just
Right,
like to relax you. Some actually
right.
are be proven to help you to sleep because you fall asleep peacefully, and it could
no,
be the sound of shower or a small water, a small creek or somewhere in the woods, like with the wind and elements. It's actually very nice, bro. You can pay
I,
some of them, so you can get it for free online.
I
And
like that
go
you
ahead,
said.
Steve.
I like that you say that because now, I mean, we have things like Google Home, we have
Yeah.
Alexa. You can
Mhm.
literally put on a timer and put like sounds. Like you can, like on Google Home, you can do. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say okay Google because my Google will go off. But if you like literally, if you like literally will say like play like ocean sounds or something or like the sound of
Yeah.
rain,
Right.
you can put it
Exactly.
on a
The
timer
sound
and
of
play
rain.
it as you
Right.
go
My
to sleep.
boyfriend actually, I'm glad you say that because he loves thunderstorm sounds and it is 100% relaxing.
Yeah, exactly. So we have so much technology today that we can just do things like
It
that.
helps.
You put it on a
Simple
timer
things.
until
It
you
doesn't
pass
have to
out.
be anything too crazy.
Exactly. So like the sound of the ocean sometimes calms me down. So like sometimes I'll put that on and just fall asleep to it. I don't make it too loud. I'll put the volume down like a little bit and just you know.
And if you're having a hard time sleeping, like I said, focus on your breathing. Because let's say you don't realize or you're tense, you're not getting that deep breath air that you really need. So it's making it harder for you to sleep. You feel uncomfortable. But if you focus on your breathing, you know, that does kind of help someone fall, calm the mind down and then follow your body goes to sleep.
Exactly. Find out what environment works for you too. Like some people actually like sleeping in a warmer environment, depending
Yeah.
on the time of year, and some people like they need a fan. I know some people they need to sleep with a fan on all times of year. So I'm not gonna lie, even sometimes in the winter I'll put a fan on. Like I need the room cool sometimes just
I
to
like the
sleep.
room cool too. Definitely.
Exactly. That's how I like it. So it's like if it's too hot, like it's uncomfortable. So just find out
And
what works for you.
there's varieties of things, there just put if you don't know what to do, try different things until you find out what works.
Exactly. You'll find something. Just it's just a process,
Absolutely.
as long as you stay consistent in trying to find it, you'll find what works for you.
Right. Sometimes it's
Um,
harder to know yourself more than you know someone else because it's hard to face yourself more um
Yeah.
to face others.
exactly. Exactly. I'd say one of the other things on
Yeah.
top of
Just
sleep,
yourself, you know.
one thing you should avoid for coping, I would say, is try not to involve on like substances like alcohol all the time. I feel like a lot of people like to turn to like things like alcohol's fine, like everything's good in moderation.
Mm,
Moderation is different,
I
yeah, but
I
Moderate.
have a different opinion. I feel like alcohol is the gateway to
Okay.
substance use, but
True.
everyone's
True.
opinion is different.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I
No.
could
No.
believe it.
100%.
I'm not against drinking, don't get me wrong.
I say moderation and like
Yeah.
moderation. Don't
Absolutely.
not like moderation.
Here
Like
and
oh,
there.
I'm just gonna have one glass a
Balance.
day. Exactly.
Exactly. It's like
Even
weed, like, every now and then, not too much. Too much is like it gets low too, and alcohol can make you do things you want to do regularly. So, like Steve is trying to say, like basically people turn to alcohol a little bit because they want to feel a little better, but then sometimes it can lead to something worse. And we all know
Absolutely.
historically, alcoholism is actually connected and always is a correlation with violent behavior, depression. People are depressed when they drink because they want to escape or do drugs. Like you
Right.
get do opium because you feel groovy better now every time, even a hard day.
it
People do
numbs
it to
the brain.
focus, but
It
It's
numbs the
still a
or
brain.
drink.
mind altering substance at the end
Yeah,
of the day. It's
Exactly.
just
exactly.
readily available.
It depends on how you're trying to use it. If you're trying to use it as a way to cope, it's not a good thing. If you're trying to use it just to at the end of a long week, you're just trying to relax a little bit and let yourself kind of just I guess let your inhibitions down. You're just trying to relax as you're not looking to get like wasted. You're just looking to, I guess like get a little
Right.
bit of a
It's
buzz if you can.
different, not
Mhm.
everyone, I guess, drinks the same. I would say it all also depends on, addiction is not just a habit. It's sometimes something that happens neurologically.
Knowledge stuff, yeah.
Exactly. When you do something enough, it can become an addiction. I always tell people, I'm like, this is how you know if do you need it or do you want it? Like, do you like, oh, I'm craving something, but like I don't have to have it. Like it's like I can walk away. Like I'm strong enough to like mentally not have to have that in my life, but like I enjoy it. Like enjoy
Right.
it. Like
But
yeah,
then sometimes some substances um, make you dependent. So alcohol, you can be
yeah,
dependent on alcohol.
Exactly. That's what it
uh-huh.
gets tricky. It's where you gotta be balanced.
Yeah.
But you're right. I want to say alcohol is a great way to cope with depression. I was thinking when you get a little better, make have a drink is one thing, but a drink and being alcoholic are like two different worlds. So I mean, or doing it too much. Same thing with being like a guy that smokes too much weed or cigarettes just to calm down because you went through a lot. You're killing your lungs now. You're more bound to probably have like cancer for smoking like cigarettes or all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? So it can go either way. Everything can lead to one thing, and depression is a very open topic, also very complicated. Because not that it's complicated, but he's got his moments, and you gotta understand a lot of things. There's a lot involved in here. It's not a very basic subject, So
Exactly.
definitely, it's some good information there,
Can
Leyla.
I
As far
just
as like
say I
everything.
100% loved being on this podcast tonight. I was just like holding it and just letting it all
Yeah,
go.
Yeah. No,
it's okay.
we appreciate
Love
you
having
like
you
having
too.
you on here.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely
definitely
brought some
enjoyed
good
that.
It was
perspective.
fun, definitely.
Yeah. We have like honestly, we're almost at the hour mark. We actually, as we started at 6:35. I mean, we can do like 5 more minutes and just
Yeah,
like
we
kind
could
of
do
just
another few
go
minutes.
through
Gotta
and just
mention
like
a few
kind of wrap
things.
up.
Yeah.
I thought
As
it was
long as you
very
guys are not
informative.
in a hurry. No, I'm okay. I can wait another few minutes, but I know the game starts soon. But I mean, we're already here.
I mean, the game started now. It's all right. It's all right. I'll watch it. Like yeah,
I
but
can always say, bro, those guys don't pay my bills, but it's not look at it. So to me, it doesn't really, matter too much. But
exactly.
I love the games. I like to watch them, but they don't pay my bills. I'm gonna do my show, then I watch the game, and I watch Ben Simmons bitch ass, get booed.
I know we probably have a lot of Sixers fans watching right now, so they're probably laughing at that.
I mean, it is what it is. No, some people from my job were looking at saying, I'm gonna watch today's the most toxic basketball game. I'm here to watch everything and enjoy it. All these girls
Yeah.
that work with me and these guys are watching the game. They're saying that like it's gonna be hilarious. It is. I mean, I just want to see what happens. I'm gonna actually tune in real fast too, bro.
One other thing, just kind of going back to like the topic, for coping, this like kind of my final thing here is like actually just like making like a good like food connection. So I would say like there's certain foods that produce like omega 3s and stuff like salmon and like other things. Omega 3s are known to kind of like boost your mood just a little bit. So like if you eat foods that are heavy in omega 3s,
Right.
and just
Or
like
good
that's why I
foods
said
in general affect your
yeah.
mood too.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the one day I was out of multivitamins and in my fish oil, so like I hadn't gone to the store a couple days, so I didn't take it for a couple days. I'm not gonna lie. Like I felt like I don't know why. Like I just like I was
Sluggish?
just felt like sluggish, like a different mindset. And I was like, oh wow, you know what? I haven't taken my multivitamin fish oil like in like a couple days, and like I wasn't really eating fish, so our body doesn't produce omega 3s and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, So that's
Right.
something to note.
Well, one thing that I want to say, because the other day I was actually literally inspired. I was like kind of cooking some stuff that I bought from Trader Joe's, and I don't go there often. I don't shop there all the time, and it's like we gotta eat different, guys. It's very essentially important. I know you know that because you obviously know about this topic, and I'm sure you eat pretty healthy. It seems like, and Steve, too. It's good to know what we're eating, guys, what we're drinking.
I'm not a healthy girl.
Okay. But hold on. It's good to be healthy and see like what you put in your body and everything. And I mean, honestly, it's like we're getting like people don't eat meat and steak. They get it from ShopRite. They spray this shit, bro. Go get it from like Whole Food or some of the better stores. It tastes so much different, man. I was actually making some food the other night, and I 3 nights ago I was hanging out a buddy of mine, a chef, and I was cooking with him, and he's showing me some stuff. And yeah, dude, it's such a difference, man. I mean, honestly, even the food it just tastes much better, but it's healthier for you. No, but honestly, food depression, food addiction is like a depression in a way. You make it can get you depressed. I mean, you've seen my 600-pound, 800-pound
Emotional
life.
eating.
We can turn to food for coping, which is
Emotional eating.
Emotional eating, yeah. Good point, Leyla. See? Like there's so many different things to explore. I feel like all these things, yeah, that's right. All these things here could be topics. I feel like we can talk about so much more. I mean,
I can talk about this for hours and hours and hours. This is my
we have
passion.
hours, but not today.
I know.
We'll do part 4 or part 3.
We'll have to have you back on sometime. We can definitely do like a part 3 because this is like part 2 essentially, like a part 3. I mean, we could touch on like other things too because I mean, this is just like it's so deep and like if you ever want to bring like your like you said like your manager on or anything, like feel free.
Oh yeah, my boss was like kind of excited for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on. Glad to get you out here.
I guess before we end, I'll just go a quick little run through.
Yeah, let's do.
Number 1, balance, and everything that could be work, personal life, extra. I can't even say it.
Extracurricular activities.
Thank you. Activities. You don't want to do too much of one thing. Keep it balanced. Try to keep active, change or add to your daily routine with positive activities. This could be, trying new hobbies, reading. It doesn't have to be a physical activity. It could be a mental activity. So like knitting, for example, is a good way to just wind down and do some grounding. And then self-care, think about yourself. Mindfully taking the time for yourself, ensuring that you are the one being taken care of, prioritizing any of your needs. I know life can get hectic and, we push off our own things. So make sure you do take care of yourself. Proper diet, hydration is very important. Being more self-aware, and just pretty much doing things that you enjoy at the end of the day is really important.
True.
Let's see, and then sleep. I already talked
Sleep,
about that.
rest.
7 to 9 hours. Mine more looks like 6, but I'm still here. The more the merrier.
The more the
And then I
merrier.
guess
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last thing is, ultimately they say that you can change your mood by just the way you think about and perceive things. So it's all about how you look at things.
Absolutely. Great
Yeah.
takeaways there. I appreciate it. Just like, yeah,
Thank you so
great
much.
takeaways.
Definitely good points.
Read some
Excellent.
comments here. So Marius, our friend Mario, he commented in. He's actually
Excellent
Albanian.
work.
He's actually Albanian as well. He said, "Excellent podcast. Keep up the good work." So Todd commented in. He said, "So glad so many men are actually on here in comedy. 5 to 10 years ago, we may have been labeled as weak if we said we were depressed or anxious." Great
That's true.
podcast.
That's a big
Thanks,
stigma
Todd.
too.
Yeah,
Big
for
taboo.
sure.
We're all
Like, men
humans at the end of the
can't
day,
really say no.
people.
Yeah.
Exactly. My buddy Joe said my takeaway was journal 5 minutes a day. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you, man. And then Frank Fuller, George, you actually know him. He actually commented in and said, "Good information here. Excellent."
Excellent.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Frank.
he's
Appreciate
a
it,
very
man.
smart guy. So yeah, if he says
Yeah,
it,
he's actually a professor. He's a professor. Yeah.
Mhm.
Got a doctorate and everything, so he knows about this stuff too. That's what I'm saying. He probably liked the fact because he probably joined a few minutes ago and he heard some of the points Leyla was saying. So a lot of people are agreeing. A lot of people, see the values in this, and a very informative episode. And yeah, we need more than this. We'll bring you back, Leyla. I think you're actually pretty comfortable with this. It's not that it's not that hard. It's pretty chill. So
Yeah, no, it was great. I definitely appreciate being here.
we
If
appreciate you as
anyone
well.
ever has more questions, I work on the main line in Narberth, PA. The place I work is Thalia Medical. Like I said, it's addiction medicine and mental health. So because mental health and substance use disorders work hand in hand just as well. Which came first, the chicken or the egg per se.
Exactly.
And right now, actually, we're a part of a clinical study. Anyone who is on opiates, fentanyl, or even illicit buprenorphine, trying to be stable, it's fully covered by this clinical study. Free treatment once a week, and it's a good opportunity for people looking for help.
Awesome. What's the name of it? I'm actually going to post it. How do you actually pronounce that? I'm actually going to type a comment so it'll actually go to all the
Put it on
streams
the
that
link on
people
the
have.
info. Yeah,
What's
just
the
put it in
name
the
of
comments so you can see it.
THALIA Medical Center.
THALIA Medical Center?
Yeah, Thalia.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put
And
that
if
in
you
there.
THA
guys
Medical
ever
Center.
have any questions, just Google the number and give me a call. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone who has questions or just needs some resources. I know a lot of people, so I'm more than happy to help anyone who needs it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I just put it in the YouTube stream. I'll make sure to put it in the Facebook stream.
Yeah, put it
as well.
we're gonna put it on IG so we got
Yeah.
that. Also, I think you already follow obviously in the group, Leyla, right? So we can follow our stuff on IG and Facebook. I probably send you a friend request because I might need some information about this. I need to,
You got it.
I need some more, medicine here. I'm always sick here.
I have
Catchy cold.
vitamins.
I need the vitamins. Yeah, I got vitamin problems. That's what I need.
If you want, you can follow Leyla. I think is your tag is it Laylax 95?
Yes,
What,
Leyla
IG?
X95
on Instagram, and then
Instagram,
Facebook,
yeah, follow
Leyla.
guys.
I forget how do you
Ozer.
pronounce your last name? Ozer. Okay.
Ozemir?
Ozer.
Ozer. Okay.
Ozer is how.
I know a guy with the name Ozemir. He's actually Turkish by way of Switzerland. So that's why when I seen it, it sounds so familiar. And I tagged you in a post recently just before we went live. I did a little post, so I saw your last name. I figured it all out.
If you guys are on Facebook, you can see I've tagged her in promotions and stuff. So guys, feel free to
we did it early this week. We did it on Monday, which we never do Monday. We always do like Tuesday, Wednesday. This week, the Monday, but it came out perfect because he had a good view of people watching too. So very important, conversation. We need these.
Right. Screw the game. Let's talk for another hour. I'm just kidding.
I know, right? We can
I'd
talk
like to, but exactly. I'm not crazy in the game, but I'll watch it. I'd rather talk about this stuff because it's very useful. But we'll have you again because we'll do another episode and we'll talk about other stuff, like maybe just pharmaceutical stuff. It could be, it can bring you and a pharmacist, two
Pharmaceutical.
people.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
because I
definitely
know a
can.
pharmacist, and it could bring you with bang, two women. I mean, whenever we had two women at once, it'd be great. Have more
Oh,
of a voice.
that's
Because
gonna be
we
a
have people.
long podcast.
Yeah, but you know what? We're prepared for that. We don't mind. As long as
That's
2 hours, well, we went 2.5 last time, so we can do 2.5 again for something very important. At the end of the day, this is things that people need to know. It's not just like opinions or just something like entertainment. Oh, it's cool, but you might not be into it. Everything, everybody should know these kind of things. Everything is important here. So
Right.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah.
So real quick, Steve,
Today, I
did you
feel
wanna-
very comfortable now. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Well,
Hopefully, if you go on podcasts in the future, that makes you comfortable. Just getting the first one out of the way and just getting out there.
It's
And,
not that
Maybe
hard.
we'll go viral.
what's that?
I said, who knows? Maybe we'll go viral.
I know, exactly. This is a good topic because a lot of people can relate to this. So I mean, we had a lot of people in and out tonight, and then at one point we had almost 20 people actually in the room at once. Like I can actually see between Facebook and YouTube.
Nice.
So it's
Very
we had a lot of people.
Today, in terms of viewership, had to be one of the best episodes. It could be, honestly, out of 73, it's probably the top 10. Yeah, no, it's 73 so far. So,
well, then wait for part 2, people.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll definitely do. Before we let you go, though, I want to give a shout out to our previous guest, my man Dan Carnegie, Coach Dan, and also the one before that, Bob Carson. We had 2 back-to-back very good episodes, and with a good number of people. And today was another one just as good and informative. I mean, crazy. Analytics, and we're happy, to bring you guys something fun and something interesting, and we're happy to bring you, on Leyla, so we can give you a little, you have the confidence to do it. You're good at this. I mean, obviously, you're not, off the gate.
I know. Now I'm gonna start making podcasts.
Hey, just support you. Whatever. Why not? We'll be doing
I'm so glad I'm able. I was able to just talk about it, inform people. The more education, the better.
Exactly. Yes. I 100% agree. And we'll give you a shout out next week. We always shout out our guests.
Next time we could talk about finances because I don't know anything about finances.
I'm actually working as a credit consultant now on the side. So
Well,
actually, we'll talk about.
May have a new customer, I guess, because
for sure.
We're both struggling out here.
Yeah, for sure. Reach out to me behind the scenes. I'll definitely help you. I actually just started a few weeks ago, but it's like a part-time thing for me. But I'm working on building my clients, building my agents. But I'm always just happy to help people.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure. Thanks, guys.
You all have worked out.
No problem.
Well, then I guess we pretty much we're just a little over an hour. We could kind of wrap it up soon. Honor, Steve. Again, very appreciative for you to be here, Leyla. I think next time I'll meet you, and thank you for everything. We'll talk again, and we'll be in touch. We'll do some more episodes. Steve, it was a great time, bro. Definitely had fun, man. It was a really good episode.
Yeah, I appreciate you both. I thought it was very informative. Like I said, lots of good comments. To everybody that commented in tonight, appreciate you guys all.
You guys are the winners.
Yeah, share, and subscribe, people. Don't forget.
Yes.
Exactly. I like that. Yeah, so guys, if you're watching on YouTube, guys, smash the like button if you like what you're hearing. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. We release episodes every single week. Guys, don't want to miss it. On Facebook, if you're obviously probably already following us, but hit the like button. It helps. It helps the page.
It helps the algorithm. It helps us spread more stuff, and definitely eventually trying to give you guys more stuff, more content. But keep supporting, guys. Eventually, things will get interesting. Definitely working on getting monetized. And again, we talked about some plans behind the scenes, but Steve, we have a lot more work to do, bro. There's shirts coming in. There's stuff going on, bro. There's venues for us. We'll bring Lily.
We have a studio coming soon, actually. So next time we'll actually have like an in-person studio and everything. Like eventually,
that's the goal.
Work in progress.
Progress is progress, so that's good.
That is for sure.
All right.
You look nice with your glasses on.
Actually, I have to run out.
No problem.
But thank you so much for everything. You guys were great, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Thank you for coming on, Leyla.
Thank you for coming.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night
too.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
All right, George. So
we're still in. Yeah, it's okay. We can go on a few more minutes. Actually, another minute because I actually got to go too, bro. But definitely, like I said, a good good podcast. It was good to have Leyla on, and everything went very well. One of the most informative ones yet. People are definitely commenting. Some people are kind of starting to slowly leave, guys. It's just about that time. If you caught us now, it's fine. Don't feel no kind of way. You can watch this on the rebroadcast. You can just go see it as soon as it's over. Many times I watch podcasts, shows like YouTube shows and all that. 2 hours after the podcast, after the show started, after the broadcasted, so I'll catch as soon as it's over or towards the end. on a live stream. Sometimes I watch it the day after. It's okay, guys. You can watch us, on YouTube or Spotify, Anchor, and we will be talking about behind the scenes, Steve, to get more of these platforms so we can spread the podcast more, so more people watch. And today was actually very good in terms of people engaging. We have a very good engagement. We even had one like this in some time. I mean, we had last week was really good too, and a very good episode and long. But I mean, engagement wise, also, in the last few weeks we had some good ones, but this is definitely the top of the list, one of the top.
Yeah, this was a good one tonight, man. Obviously, people are just. This is a good topic to always talk about. I'm probably going to be out for the night though here.
Same here.
And then just gonna pop off, guys. As I said, anybody who commented in, I know Frank. Thank you, Frank Fuller. Thank you, Marius. Thank you, Joe,
Todd,
Ray,
watching.
Vanita,
Joe, Rhodes, Jesse Rhodes.
Yes, Jessica Rhodes. Exactly.
She commented another one too. Tom, somebody, yeah, some of you guys. I'm not sure if I know you. Probably some people you might know, but we're getting people that follow us, that watch us, that we probably neither one of us really know, bro. Like friends of friends that we're spreading. So gotta keep up the good work, man. Always gotta think positive. Smart. Again, there's studio comedy guys, so keep up.
Exactly. And guys, just the last resource. Obviously, we just thank Leyla for coming on, Leyla Ozer. But now we have she gave us her resource of where she works, Talia Medical Center. If you guys can see in the comments there, THLIA Medical Center. You can always reach out to Leyla, and you can reach her there. Find the phone number. You can call. You can talk to Leyla. She can definitely help you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. It was a good episode, bro. They say, bro, George Metcalfe by day, G Money by night. I think it's first time to make an escape. G Money's left the building. I'm about to leave the building.
All right, guys.
Always left the building. Anyway, hit me up after the game, bro. Let's watch this game and chit chat a little on the text. I'll call you a little later. Text me if you want. I'm about to watch the game and take a spin. But anyway, bro, I'm out, guys. Good being with you guys. Have a good weekend. See you guys soon.
Talk to you later, George. Guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week. We'll have a guest in the building. Episode 74.
Yep.
Have a good night, guys.